This is NTV Tonight, the headlines.
Right. Quack Dr. James Mugo remains on the run as more of his victims open up.
I opened this bedsheet, then the first thing I noticed, I saw the bed. I was on my periods. I didn't have my underpants.
And now, the medical board has launched its investigation.
The practice is illegal. So what do you do with a criminal who is working in this country and the board does not have police of their own?
Also ahead, the government is offline. We tell you why you cannot access 6 government ministries' websites.
Plus, the government needs to dispose millions of bags of rotting maize in NCPB silos, and there appears to be more trouble ahead.
The price of 2,300 CS, you can come up with whatever formula you have, is not acceptable by the farmers in North Rift. Yes, we'd rather stay with our maize.
Also,
sometimes I've told a couple, if you can look at me, both of you now that you are here, and tell me, Pastor, sisi tuko sawa, then we will still go ahead.
Intentions of Nakuru pastor who cancelled a wedding and legality of the medical test demands questioned.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Welcome to the broadcast, and we start tonight's bulletin with some good news. We will be bringing you the Gor Mahia versus Everton friendly live from Goodison Park starting 10 p.m. Sidebar will be back next week.
And you can also catch the match and this news bulletin live on ntv.co.ke/live and on NTV Kenya on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno.
We start tonight's bulletin with the story that we've been following over the weekend of Quack Clinic, and the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board today confirmed that some of the equipment confiscated from Quack Medic James Mugo's illegal clinic is used to carry out abortions. At the same time, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board is blaming the police for failing to accompany its officers during crackdowns on illegal health facilities and personnel.
Today, Kayole residents disclosed to NTV another clinic that was used by the Quack medic who remains on the run. NTV Seth Olale with the details.
This facility in Kayole, only labeled as Ultrasound Services Hospital, is where James Mugo alias Dr. Mugo wa Wairimu initially carried out his illegal activity for about 3 years before moving to Milan Health International Limited. The distance between Ultrasound Services Hospital and Milan Health International Limited is less than a kilometer.
Naitwa Joyce Mengesa.
29-year-old Joyce Mengesa, a mother who operates a salon in Namavila area, is among a few residents who had an idea of who James Mugo was, given his earlier brushes with the law and the publicity around them.
Clients wenye walikuwa nakuja hapa, I used to advise them, don't go in that clinic because tunajoyo mse. And about wasichana, most of the cases tumesikia.
Other residents had also started becoming suspicious of Mugo wa Wairimu's medical approach.
Kuna neighbor pale alikuwa 3-month pregnant na alikuwa na bleed, so akadecide kwenda to that hospital. Ati huyo daktari anamwambia mwingishe mkono. How?
Detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations headquarters Tuesday morning confiscated some material and medication believed to have been used by James Mugo while conducting abortions at Milan Health International Limited. The equipment and drugs were taken to Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board head officers for examination and analysis. The results indeed proved that they were instruments used for procuring abortions.
When the equipment is used for, like when one has an incomplete abortion or retained product of conception.
The medics are, however, blaming the police for failing to provide security to their officers during inspections and crackdowns on quack clinics and health personnel.
Now do you go to for a raid in the middle of the night? I mean, 10 o'clock at night in Kayole without police officers? You can't go.
In a letter dated 6th June 2017, KMPDB highlighted a total of 23 ongoing cases to the Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, in order to ensure that the culprits are not set free due to lack of evidence or incomplete investigations. The current law, which has lenient penalties for offenders, has been cited as a key factor that enables the vice to thrive.
Our Act currently proposes a penalty of 10 to 20,000 shillings and a jail sentence of about 6 months. But in our new Cap 253 Amendment Bill 2018, we are proposing 5 million shillings. So that if you are caught and you are a quack, you are not qualified, is 5 million shillings.
In the meantime, Mugo wa Wairimu is on the run, with the police following potential leads that could lead to arrest of the quack doctor. James Mugo, alias Dr. Mugo wa Wairimu, was so strategic in identifying his location where he executed his missions, and the back streets of Kayole proved to be an advantage for one Mr. Mugo. Seth Olale, NTV, Kayole.
Of the many victims who have seen the worst of fake Dr. James Mugondishu, Mary Jane, whose identity we have changed to protect her, believes she has been among the strongest who have come out to expose what ills he has been doing to many Kenyan women.
Though she is yet to get the justice she believes she deserves, she prays that someday he will pay for the crimes he committed against her and many more who are too afraid to speak out about it.
Mary Jane spoke to Leila Mohammed and revisited the events of one Saturday afternoon in November 2014 when she sought medical services, which turned out to be a nightmare.
An advertisement on the streets of where she lived in 2014 captured Mary Jane's attention. With a bleeding problem on her mind, she was interested to call the number on the poster, and soon enough, the man on the other end of the call assured her that all she needed to do was walk in and get checked.
I needed to organize myself financially before I went there. So he told me everything is for free.
Though it was 4 years ago, her memory of the day's events remained clear. She walked in with her then boyfriend, who chose to wait for her at the reception. The first man who attended to her conducted a scan on her pelvic area and printed out the images before asking her to get into the next room where Dr. Mugo was waiting.
He told me I have a growth that needed an immediate operation. So, I was already scared.
The doctor then told Mary Jane that he needed to conduct a physical exam and remained adamant that this had to be done despite her informing him that she was on her menses. Due to the news she had just received, she was torn between the fear of the unknown and the doctor supposedly saving her life.
Family.
His screams prompted her to stay awake, and what she saw when she looked down scared her as well.
Still scared, but then I climbed on top of the bed. I was told to open my mouth. I was given around 3 to 4 tablets. So what I remember afterwards is waking up in a strange room. I've been covered by a bed sheet. I've been put on drip. What even made me start regaining my consciousness was the fact that this guy was shouting, he was yelling.
The two of them left. Her boyfriend helped her to her feet. She says after ensuring that she got home, he prepared food and told her he would be back. She has never seen him since.
I opened this bed sheet, then the first thing I noticed, outside the bed, I was on my periods. I didn't have my underpants.
On her own, she made a point to get a second medical opinion which cleared her of any growth, thus strengthening her fear that she could have been molested. But she didn't get the help she expected at Kasarani police station then. It is only after the first expose that officers there called her back to record a new one. But she chose to do so at the DCR headquarters along Kiambu Road. She says that she has been to all the hearings in the case since then and even testified in open court, but is yet to get the justice that she has been yearning for over the years. 5 years after the fact, the fake Dr. Mugo still enjoys the freedom to continue conducting his violations. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Well, Mugo is still on the run and police are still searching for him. But you can catch that story on YouTube. Go to NTV Kenya page. Later on tonight, you'll find it uploaded. Jesse Karanja, the pastor who allegedly cancelled the wedding in Nakuru, is said to have demanded the couple meet certain standards before the wedding.
Among those standards, according to family members, were medical tests that he said to have forced the couple to take and submit the results of to the church.
Even though no reference has been made to HIV and AIDS, the HIV and AIDS tribunal insists that forced medical tests are illegal.
According to the bride's brother, medical tests were the basis of the Saturday wedding cancellation. It had taken 5 months to plan. There was no disclosure of the specific tests.
Amekuwa akifanya repeatedly, anawaambia warudie medical zaidi ya mara 3. Tunashangaa pastor amekuwa daktari tena.
Many preachers say churches mostly advise couples to take HIV tests and make them known to each other. However, some churches do demand the tests and make them a compulsory requirement before marriage.
You are not supposed to do any tests, particularly HIV/AIDS, for wedding. And even if you're positive, you are not supposed to be refused wedding if the couples agree to wed.
The forced tests have become a particular problem with churches. The HIV and AIDS Tribunal says it has dealt with many such cases.
The church must realize that wedding is giving the authority to wed is not their right. That was the power given. It is a delegated power from the Attorney General. They don't have that power.
There are pastors who think Pastor Jesse's cancellation of the wedding was uncalled for.
Sometimes I've told a couple, if you can look at me, both of you now that you are here, and tell me, Pastor, sisi tuko sawa, then we will still go ahead. I also have to tell them way in advance that even if the results are, say, positive and negative, and both of you love each other and you want to go ahead, we will still do the wedding.
The couple affected by the pastor's refusal to officiate the wedding remain mum. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
A police officer attached to Piave Patrol Police Base in Njoro, Nakuru County killed himself after shooting his wife. The incident caught residents by surprise since there were no signs of discord among the couple. NTV's Bridget Ngana with the details.
Residents of Piave swarmed the staff quarters of the area's patrol police base. This was the aftermath of a grim night. A police officer sworn to protect and serve the residents had turned the gun on his wife, shooting her twice before shooting himself on the head. The scene was by all means the opposite of what the residents had known of the deceased couple.
Juzi ndio niliwakuta pale wamekaa chini nikienda kazi yangu. Na hawakuwa na shida. Kaa siku 3 hivi. Na wanachanagi wanaenda mpaka senta wananunua vitu wanarudi kwa nyumba. Sasa mimi hata nimeshangaa nimetoka kwa shamba nimeitiwa ati wamejipiga marisasi wote wa hivi.
Mpaka jana kitu saa 9 wakiwa na mzee yake tulikuwa nao wakienda senta. Tukasalamiana, sikuona akiwa na ubaya. Sasa ndio nimesikia hiyo maneno asubuhi.
Leo asubuhi amepata amri kutoka kwa OCS yake ya Njoro. Amwambie marehemu apeleke exhibit ambayo ilikuwa inatakikana kupelekwa kotini. So wakati alifika hapa ndio akaangalia kwa nyumba, mlango imefungwa kwa ndani, na kuangalia ndani ndio akakuta marehemu akiwa ameanguka chini.
The bodies were discovered by another officer at the camp who had gone to seek out his colleague over an official matter.
Asa sababu ile ya marehemu kujiua hatujajua kwa saa hii na tumeanzisha uchunguzi kwa saa hii.
The residents say the couple had lived together for 3 months. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru County.
More than 24 hours after it emerged that several government ICT services had been disrupted, the situation is yet to be resolved. More than 10 websites that belong to key ministries, counties, departments and agencies remain inaccessible, blocking service delivery to millions of Kenyans. The ICT ministry has, however, attributed the shutdown to licensing and maintenance issues against the backdrop of reports that it is due to non-payment of services by the government to Microsoft Azure, which manages the website's data center. Zainab Ismail reports.
For a government that seeks to increase efficiency in the delivery of services by digitizing the public sector, the shutdown of some of the government service portals serves as a major setback. The key ministries affected by the interruption include the Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Labour, Ministry of Energy, Mining and Petroleum, Ministry of Water and Irrigation, the East Africa Community Ministry, among others, which include county websites and other government agencies. Kenyans who attempt to browse the websites are welcomed by a blue page and statement indicating, and I quote, "The page you're trying to access is currently stopped and does not accept requests." According to a press statement by the ICT authority, the shutdown has been attributed to software licensing and maintenance. The sites are reportedly hosted by Microsoft Azure, a cloud computing service created by Microsoft which manages applications and services through a global network of Microsoft-managed data centers. According to a source from the ICT ministry, the affected sites hosted by Microsoft Azure went down due to failure by the government to remit payment for services. Our source further indicates that there is allegedly an impasse in what is said to be improperly signed contracts between Microsoft and the government. The Ministry of Lands, for instance, which is in the process of fully digitizing its services, will affect many Kenyans who will not be able to perform land transactions such as register land documents, transfer ownership of land, conduct official land searches, or even make payment. The ICT Ministry, however, said plans were afoot to have the websites restored for users to continue enjoying their services. Zainab Ismail, NTV.
15 minutes past the hour, and then TV Tonight takes a short break.
But we'll be back with the latest on maize.
Welcome back, and remember the much anticipated match at 10 p.m. Everton playing Gor Mahia. It's a friendly match at Goodison Park that will be coming to you live. You can see the pictures there already, the fixtures, the pitch is ready. The fans are yet to get into the stadium, and we'll be airing that live from 10 p.m. Of course, you don't want to miss that. A lot of talk on social media concerning the match. Your predictions, you can also talk about the predictions. What do you think is going to happen at Goodison Park?
I think Gor is going to take it.
You're rooting for Gor?
Yes.
Of course, being patriotic. I'm rooting for Gor as well, but I think there'll be 2 goals down. That's my prediction. But we'll talk more about that when we near that sports segment. But moving on now, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kinjuri has blamed incompetency among staff at National Cereal and Produce Board and stores that have outlived their usefulness as the cause of mismanagement and maize going bad in the NCPB stores.
The CS informed a parliamentary committee that 67% of maize at NCPB stores were downgraded to substandard, that is unfit for consumption, and almost 1 million bags of maize have gone bad and need to be disposed of immediately.
Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kinjuri informed the National Assembly's Committee on Agriculture that they have proposed to the Cabinet the need to immediately dispose of 2 million bags of maize, which is likely to go bad at NCPB stores.
We are told 60% of this maize across the country cannot be milled.
More than 1.2 million bags of maize that are still in silos have discolored. We equally have some maize that were imported from Mexico. We have over 240,000 bags, and the maize also need to be disposed of immediately. You get a person who was recruited just as a clerk has now risen to become a manager in the silo through natural attrition, not replacing, and therefore we have a challenge in management.
Members of the committee questioned the ministry's decision to buy a 90 kilogram of maize at 2,300 shillings, contrary to the previous price of 3,200 shillings.
The price of 2,300 CS, you can come up with whatever formula you have, is not acceptable by the farmers in North Rift. Yes, we'd rather stay with our maize.
According to the CAS, in 3 days, the ministry will receive the 2.1 billion shillings from Treasury, meant to pay farmers who had supplied their produce to NCPB. Out of the remaining 226 farmers meant to receive the money, 62 farmers will still have to wait to be cleared by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Vincent Odur, NTV.
The prosecution has lined up 25 witnesses to testify in the case on corruption and mismanagement of resources that led to the loss of millions of shillings at the Kenya Power and Lighting Company.
The prosecution says it has a watertight case against the 4 directors from various limited companies implicated in the KPLC scandal.
During the pre-trial hearing today, the prosecution told the court that they have called expert witnesses, an officer from the Registrar of Companies and National Construction Commission among its witnesses.
The 14 directors before the Anti-Corruption Court are being charged with fraudulently obtaining over 15 million shillings from KPLC.
And this comes barely a week after KPLC top managers, including the Chief Executive Officer Ken Tarus and his predecessor Ben Chumo, were arraigned in court, charged with the offence of procuring substandard transformers worth over 409 million.
Former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero breathed a sigh of relief after the High Court extended orders barring the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission (EACC) from searching or evaluating his properties.
In her ruling today, Judge Hedwig Ongundi directed EACC to release Kidero's property seized from his house in Muthaiga and Riverside office.
The judge also expunged the Director of Public Prosecution (DPP) from the case, noting that his office has no role in the proceedings.
Regarding the issue on whether EACC has jurisdiction to search public property at Mumias Sugar Company, where Kidero previously worked, the court ruled that the matter will be dealt with in the petition. 15 teachers have been charged at Ogembo Law Court in Kisii over attempts at cheating in exams.
It happened as Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed directed the arrest of any trespassers in schools during the examination period.
8 candidates from Bungoma and Narok counties were absent from their respective exam centers.
NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga will be giving us the details of that story much later on. So we're taking another short break. NTV Tonight will be back.
Now for the business news, mediations between American fruit processing company Del Monte and the Kandara Residents Association in Muranga County over a land lease renewal dispute have failed to take off after representatives of the juice maker failed to turn up. The National Lands Commission, which was supposed to be the mediator in the talks, did not disclose Del Monte's reasons for missing the meeting as contained in a letter sent to the commission. The residents had gone to court to bar the county government from renewing Del Monte's land leases offices, saying no public participation forum had been convened as the law demands. And Judge Grace Kamei earlier last month granted an out-of-court settlement and directed that the parties report on developments of the discussions on November 12th.
If a party is not here.
The Kenya Meat Commission has been put on the spot over non-payment for livestock delivered by farmers, resulting in arrears to the tune of 490 million shillings. Farmers today camped at the Commission's headquarters in Athi River, agitating for intervention in the settlement of the pending payments. Meanwhile, the Senate's Agriculture Committee has expressed dissatisfaction at the Commission's state of affairs, questioning the institution's viability. The committee is expected to seek audience with KMC's top management within 2 weeks to seek a way out of the challenges being faced.
Si tumeteseka hapa kusema kweli, tunadai ile pesa si profit sisi tunayo maka kadhaa. Mimi mwenyewe tuko na partner na huyu ndugu yangu tunadai over 18 million.
Now we want to find out also, is it a viable institution? What is it that can be done to make sure that this institution runs as an institution and profitable? Because we cannot keep pumping taxpayers' money in an institution year in, year out. And the same institution does not help Kenyans.
Leaders from the North Rift region continue to fault the recently announced maize buying price, insisting that it is no good for the farmers. Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei is now urging the government to review it from 2,300 shillings upwards to allow farmers make some profit out of the maize growing.
As Senate, we met last week the CS in charge of agriculture, Mwangi Kiwinjuri. And as Senate, we have expressed disappointment on how the issues of farmers has been handled, especially maize farmers. We are aware on the pricing that Strategic Food Reserve, SFR, it said that they are giving us 23. I think for us, farmers of maize, the cost of production by 90 kilo of bag is between 1,800 to 2,000. So what we are asking the ministry and the government and SFR Strategic Food Reserve is to agree with us.
Legislators have started plans to introduce a bill in Parliament that will compel all microfinance institutions to be regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya in order to protect small and medium enterprises from exploitation. KSS Member of Parliament Mishra Swaroop said many SMEs have suffered in the hands of a few unscrupulous creditors who offer loans to traders at exorbitant rates, making it hard for them to thrive. Speaking at his constituency offices in KSS during the issuing of Uwezo Fund checks to 49 groups of youth and women, the legislator reiterated that the government should not keep silent as small businesses continue to suffer under the weight of high interest rates.
Somebody can give you 10,000 shilling and ask for 12,000 shilling at the end of the month. At the end of the day, the money goes, and also their cow, goat, house, even their vehicle, everything gone. Forget about business, is very far.
As you settle in for that match between Gor Mahia and Everton, we take a short break.
Mimi naitwa
Welcome back. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri has blamed incompetency among staff at National Cereals and Produce Board and stores. Apologize for that. We're moving to a different story now. 15 teachers have been charged at Ogembo Law Court in Kisii over attempts at cheating in exams. It happened as Education Cabinet Secretary Mina Mohammed directed the arrest of any trespassers in schools during the examination period.
8 candidates from Bungoma and Narok counties were absent from their respective exam centers. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga with the details.
The 15 teachers were arrested yesterday at Munianku Secondary School in Kisii County and charged at Ogembo Law Court over attempts at cheating in the national examinations. Resident Magistrate Margaret Nafula ruled that they will spend 5 more days in police custody to allow for investigations. In Muranga, the Education CS warned that trespassers in examination centers will be prosecuted, saying only the center managers, their deputies, kitchen staff, and a few teachers are allowed in during the exam period.
We are not going to allow, and I repeat, we are not going to allow for our children to be exposed, right, to foreign material, or for our children to be sat for, in these exams.
In Narok, 4 candidates were absent from their respective examination centers. The County Commissioner George Natembeya says the whereabouts of the students remain unknown. The missing students are from St. Mary's Secondary School, Fanaka High School, and Balozi Secondary School. In Trans Nzoia County, a student from St. Anthony Kinyoro in Saboti is recovering in hospital after she gave birth last night. She will sit her exams at the hospital until she is strong enough to go to school. 2 candidates from Kitui County are writing their exams at Mwingi Level 4 Hospital. One delivered a baby yesterday and the other one is due any time. In Makueni County, 2 candidates from Kiwasini Secondary in Kaiti Sub-County and AIC Ndithini Secondary in Mboni West Sub-County are sitting their exams in hospital after delivering babies. And a candidate from Saramek Secondary in Kipkelion is sitting her exams from Londiani Sub-County Hospital, where she gave birth to a baby girl. This year, about 660,000 candidates are writing the exam. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
We're moving now to the exciting part of the bulletin, and that's sports, and it's coming next.
My name is Brian Otual. Harambee Starlets risks missing out of the Africa Women's Cup of Nations, with Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa calling on the government to offer more financial support ahead of the upcoming assignments involving the Harambee Starlets as well as the emerging stars. Starlets will be taking on Ghana in an international friendly match on Wednesday at the Kasarani Stadium before the team jets out for the Africa Women's Cup of Nations. This as Black Stars, or the Black Queens, had a feel of the Kasarani Stadium.
It's frustrating because the girls have been in camp now for the second week and the ministry does not have the money to fund this yet.
And Kenya Simbas will depart Romania on Wednesday for France ahead of the repechage tournament that starts on Sunday in Marseille. The Simbas have been in Romania since Thursday last week, and on Saturday they lost 36-5 to Romania A. Apart from training with members of the Romanian national team, the Simbas joined Bucharest Rugby Club for a training session on Tuesday. And four-time New York City Marathon winner Mary Keitany is expected back in the country on Thursday morning after dominating the event on Sunday. Keitany finished more than 3 minutes ahead of second-place Vivian Cheriot, and her winning time of 2 hours, 22 minutes and 48 seconds was just 17 seconds outside the course record. And English Premier League legend Robbie Fowler will be in Nairobi for a 3-day visit beginning November 23rd, courtesy of Barclays Kenya. Fowler, who is best remembered for his time at Liverpool, will be in the country for several activities aimed at engaging EPL fans in Kenya. During his stay, Fowler will interact with players and officials of the national football team, conduct a football clinic with young footballers under the Musa Otieno Foundation, among other engagements. All right, that's the sport. A lot more going on right now. The Champions League also going on. This is a Champions League night, but we also have Gor Mahia taking on Everton a few minutes from now.
Yes.
And Dino had predicted what?
2-0.
2-0.
To Everton.
I predict both teams to score, but that we'll see that in the results. That I'll be bringing that later in a bit.
All right, that marks the end of NTV tonight. To make way for that match, my name is Burrows.
My name is Dennis Okari. Good night.